is the next job. I'm pretty much going to come in here and kind of try to create a swell out, or basically just reshape this guy's whole yard. So he owns everything here that's mowed, but he's kind of in the middle of this big field, and the majority of it drains over there at that end, and then kind of this whole thing through here, because they kind of got his house in a bowl pretty much. And then it actually will eventually get to over there, but to where his house is set, it's in like the lowest point. Everything, the septic tank and everything's higher, and runs over to the house and getting in there. So I think what I was going to do is come in from that end of the field, kind of straight in line where I'm at, and just kind of try to cut and put a real subtle swell, maybe even a little bit of kind of a berm out here for what water runs off that field. Like I said, I came out here, I actually looked at this job last spring or summer, but with the rain we got and the time frame, we just couldn't ever get out here, because you couldn't even walk in this before. I mean, it was like a river just running down almost to the septic, and then it actually would run in between the house and the shop, and then it would flood a shop and then wash the driveway out, because that point over there is 6 inches lower than where I'm even standing at. So I'm going to try to come in here and just cut, like I said, get it kind of shaped out here where I can slope that away and then shoot it around the building and then off into the field over there. But some of this is kind of wavy and high, and then it's rutted out up here. I'm going to try to cut and skim some of that off, maybe fill a little bit of this in and kind of whiten this up where it's just not one concentrated spot. And if we can ever get grass to grow on it, that'll help kind of slow it down. But my plan is just kind of cut it around and go that way, and then slope everything away from the house. There's not much I can do with the septic system being a little bit higher, but and then I think we're going to kind of cut another swell around this side, and there's already a little one here in the front. I'm just going to kind of reshape that because there's some high spots. It kind of gets wavy. You can see it kind of goes up and down, so I'm going to reshape some of that and kind of take it out to the I probably won't go to the ditch because there is a lot of water in that. I want it to run back in here, but it kind of wants to run right through there. So once I get all this kind of dressed up and graded out, then a friend of mine's going to come in here and hydro seed everything, and hopefully this guy can keep it watered and keep it growing. It's a little crunchy right now, you can tell, but you can just see all this spots right here is where it normally runs, and it kind of runs right over to there, and then it slowly drains off into that field. It's gonna be a pretty good size swell around here, so we'll get the loader unloaded and get to it. Well, here's the progress I got done yesterday. So I think about, I don't know, three and a half hours by the time I got over yesterday afternoon and got started. But I started kind of getting it roughed in. I still need to take the center down a little bit. I mean, it's still about 2 inches lower than what those, I can't even talk today. It's about 2 inches lower than what it is on the back of the house, but I want to get it just a little bit more, and I got to do, I'll rip that grass up around between the house and the shop and get that to slope out. I'm probably going to kind of have, like I got going here, just a real wide gradual swell. It'll curve this way and kind of break over, and then kind of from at the sump pump line, it's lower that way. And then I kind of added a little bit up there, and I'm just trying to widen the kind of the mouth up of the swell. Once there's grass on it, it'll help spread it out and not be rutting up or in one concentrated area. And then some of this stuff I got piled up on the sides. Originally I talked about maybe putting a slight berm just to kind of catch what's on there, but I don't know yet. So I'm gonna see on that. I may just kind of feather it out and just try to make this swell a whole lot wider, so at least it'll hit and run and take off down through there. I try to, when I come in here and build these, I try to build it as if it was mine, and I look at what would be functional but also mobile and look nice. So I try to kind of, I don't know, put the best of all worlds in there and see. I need to kind of work that some more. And this actually is an old dirt field that we used to get dirt off probably 15 years ago. There's a little bit in there, but it's getting down to some clay, but it's kind of, I don't know, there's no rocks or anything in it. It's like a brown reddish clay that, I mean, it does set up pretty hard. You can tell on that, but there's still some decent dirt in there. So went and picked me up another attachment this morning. I'm just renting it for today and tomorrow, but well, we're gonna do a little attachment showdown. So I finally got me a Harley Rake. Worst part about it is it does have power tilt, except somebody's lost the harness to do that, so it's set at a little bit of an angle right now, but hopefully that won't be a big deal. Like I said, I've never even ran one, so this is gonna be a whole learning experience anyway, but we're gonna kind of make some side-by-side passes with the two and kind of compare them and see, because like I said, I've had the Preparator since 2012 and I've been really happy with it, but we're getting, I don't know, kind of different dirt or more clay where it doesn't seem to maybe work as well. But I mean, it's also kind of apples to oranges. I mean, it's the same idea as a Harley Rake, but it's got hinges right here where this whole thing is on a hinge. So if it gets rocky or anything like that, or it's hard, that part will actually bounce and you really can't put any down pressure on it, and it just kind of runs on those little skids on the front where you can kind of put a little more down pressure on this. They both spin forward or backwards, and like I said, that one will angle if you have the wiring harness. This one has a bucket on the back. I need to raise it up and get the camera in there. There's got holes in the bucket so you can actually collect the rocks in there, where this one you just kind of got to windrow it and then pick them up. But from what I can tell, like I said, the Preparator is more of like a finisher, I guess. You could use this one, loosen it up and get it looking pretty good, and if you wanted to, you could go over with that one, because that one seems to not spin as quick, but it does a better job kind of in the looser material. I'd say it does a better job. I mean, these do a nice job as well, but we used to always run that one like before we're getting ready to seed or saw, because it leaves a real nice finish. It just doesn't do a very good job loosen some of this stuff up, where I'm hoping the Harley Rake will come in here, because some of this stuff, like I said, right there's some pretty hard packed clay and it's a little bit wavy. I'm hoping I can kind of just pulverize some of it up, where I can get some of these dips out of here and really dress this thing up. Yeah, that's the plan for today, is try to get this finished up and do a little comparison of the two attachments. only maybe got an hour running the Harley Rake, but these two passes are the Harley Rake, these two are the Preparator. So I think the Harley Rake does a little bit better job kind of breaking up the hard pack stuff, but for the finish work and the overall, like before you want to seed or sod, I kind of still think the Preparator takes the cake on the finish on that. So, but it looks like it's kind of a deal where they both have their place. I mean, I wouldn't say one is maybe better than the other one. I mean, overall, probably the Harley Rake would be, if you're going to get one attachment, I would say go with that one, because it seems to work better at kind of breaking up some of the hard pack stuff and ripping up existing grass, where this one doesn't. But like I said, the very final or finish pass, it seems like the Preparator shines a little bit better. The Harley Rake still does good. It kind of loosens it up and stuff, but which it looks like the Preparator is harder pack stuff, but it's actually pretty loose. It just kind of, I don't know, levels it out a little bit better. It almost looks like you vacuumed it and stuff. But either one of them will do a good job for that. But like I said, I think they both kind of have their place. Back again. I'm hoping to get all this knocked out today. I kind of ran the Harley Rake over all of it last night. I got it pretty close. There's a couple of spots right there around the corner of the porch I need to do a little more work on. I'm kind of questioning if it's a little high on one spot and a little low there, and then I may run along and kind of soften this edge up a little bit more because it gets kind of steep back here. But I also need to get working on getting this stuff out of there. That pile in front of the machine, I'm going to load up and haul off. It's just got a lot of chunks of clay and some rocks and grass. And this has a little bit, but this is some pretty decent material. This all got, well, there's a rock there, and it's got chunks of clay and stuff like that in there, but some of it'll break up pretty good. I think the better piles are up here. This is the stuff I took off this edge, but I need to work on getting it out of the way, or I can kind of finish cutting the swell and kind of grading it on out. I may add a little more dirt to that side of his shop, and then there's a couple other little low spots out there, but I mean, it's pretty close to what I want. I kind of got that built up where it'll has fog coming back this way, and everything should kind of drain through here. It's coming along, so let's jump in the loader and try to get this thing cleaned up. was maybe a little bit that I'm working on, kind of watching the bed and controlling it a little bit, but I got a little thin down there partway through, but hey, I haven't tugged at it in a while, so we'll take it. Well, my part of it with the dirt work and everything is finished, so now we're just awaiting hydro seed, which I think they told me tomorrow they'd be. I couldn't get here today, which I was hoping for. He wanted this pile here. I think he's got some places out in there, and they maybe gonna put a garden in or something. So I don't know, he just asked me to pile up some dirt behind the shop here, but this is what it kind of looks like now. It does have a slight swell. It's actually from the septic tank over to here is 22 inches of fall, which sounds like a lot, except it's like a 250 foot 275 foot span, so it's real gradual. I think it'll drain off and get it away from the house, but it may be real slow because that was kind of the lowest point of that field again. So I didn't want to get it dug down any deeper than have it dam up, and we'd be kind of, I don't know, working against ourselves, I guess. But I tried to just kind of get it cut nice and gradual. I don't know how well this will show up, but if you kind of get down here eye level with it, you can see right over by the tanks, it should just get and come down this way. And if you can kind of widen those swells out where the water won't just run down in one spot and keep cutting it, it'll kind of spread it out, especially when there's grass on it, and help kind of dissipate the water. And then, like I said, used to just shoot between there because I think the house was built, and then a year later they built the shop. But I tried to build that driveway up and build that up. It's got like 5.5 inches of fall coming back this way. We do get a big rain. It should drain off. It used to actually flood his shop the way it was before. And then I actually raised the downspouts up to try to get a little more. They were like right on the ground, so we talked about burying them, but I don't know where to they let them out to where they would work. And I didn't end up running the Preparator over this because this stuff is just so powdery. I mean, there's just nothing to it. It needs some moisture in it, so it's almost like working with water. And I tried to build the dirt up on the house just a touch, but we just don't have a lot of room. It's actually 6 1/4 inches lower here than what it is over there, so I'm hoping that water will kind of hit and turn through here and kind of curve around. But that is what it looks like. This is the part I did with the Harley Rake. I didn't use the bucket or anything. I just started ripping the grass up with it and then running it on out. So it had some pretty decent fall. It just had a couple high and low spots. But they'll be here tomorrow to hydroseed it, and then if he can keep it watered, hopefully in a week or so he'll have some grass. So I was hoping to be here when they were hydroseeding just to kind of watch him do that. Well, this is how it looks now, so fingers crossed it'll drain enough. Like I said, it will drain. It just may be kind of a slow go unless we get a big rain, then it should run on down and around. And here's kind of the driveway I got touched up. So like I said, I added the majority of the rock to here because it used to be probably 4 or 5 inches low and all the water would run through here and wash it out. But I was kind of able to build that side up and then build up through there. You can kind of see it kind of shoots off back that way, and just kind of top coated the rest of it. It wasn't too bad a shape. And you kind of had a spot right here that was a little low on the edge of the driveway. We kind of feathered some of that out, so they're just going to hydroseed all of the dirt spots. And then he's going to have to put lots and lots of water on it. So, and it's actually starting to sprinkle, so that'll be nice to kind of knock some of that dust down. But yeah, this job is complete, so let's head for the shop.